Welcome to the Texas A&M University at Galveston May 2020 commissioning ceremony. Please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. Captain, United States Maritime Service, arriving. Texas A&M Maritime Academy, arriving. Giving today's invocation will be Midshipman First Class Jacob Pratt.
Welcome. Please join me for today's invocation. Eternal Father, it is with thankful hearts that we lift our prayers to you on this significant occasion of this commissioning ceremony. We thank you for the hard work and dedication of these officer candidates. We also thank you for the great sacrifices of their family, friends, teachers, and mentors in allowing them to grow into the people that stand before us today. We ask your blessing, merciful Lord, upon this group of officer candidates as they start a new and exciting journey in the United States Navy and the United States Merchant Marine. Be with them during this transition. Give them comfort in the difficulty of leaving what they know behind and joy in the fact that an unforgettable voyage lies ahead. Bless them with new peers and new leaders with whom they can share the joys of military service and make their memories of this place fond and sweet, of all they have accomplished and all the people they have come to know. As a personal prayer for you, my fellow midshipmen, I turn to the sailor's version of Psalm number 23. The Lord is my pilot. I shall not go adrift. He lights my passage across dark channels. He steers me through deep waters. He keeps my log. Though I sail amidst the thunders and tempests of life, I shall fear no peril, for thou art with me. The vastness of thy sea upholds me. Surely fair winds and safe harbors shall be found all the days of my life, and I shall moor fast and secure forever. In your name we pray, amen.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, family, and friends. I am Lieutenant Rene Perez, the Assistant Officer in charge of the Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps and Strategic Sealift Midshipman Programs. And it is my distinct honor to be today's Master of Ceremonies. Today, we will commission 13 officers into the Naval Service. This ceremony belongs to the new officers and you, their family and friends. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Texas A&M Maritime Academy. Rear Admiral Michael E. Fossum currently serves as a Vice President of Texas A&M University, Superintendent of the Texas A&M Maritime Academy, and Chief Operating Officer of Texas A&M University at Galveston. He joined Texas A&M following his retirement from the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, Johnson Space Center in 2017. He is a veteran of 3 space flights with more than 194 days in space and more than 48 hours in 7 spacewalks during his 19 years as an astronaut. During his last mission in 2011, he served as commander of the International Space Station. He has logged over 2,000 hours in 35 different aircraft throughout the course of his career. Admiral Fossum earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering from Texas A&M University and was commissioned as an officer in the United States Air Force in 1980. He is also a graduate of United States Air Force Test Pilot School and has earned Master of Science degrees in Systems Engineering and Physical Science, Space Science. Admiral Fossum was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and grew up in McAllen, Texas. He is married to his Aggie sweetheart, the former Melanie J. London. They have 4 children and 6 grandchildren. He enjoys family and outdoor activities, and he has been a lifelong supporter and volunteer in the scouting program. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Fossum.
Howdy. What an honor it is for me to be here today, celebrating this just remarkable transformation, because that's what it really is. I've known these students during their time as students here, but today they're choosing a different path. And that path is in service to our nation. This is the absolute definition of selfless service, as they have chosen to serve our nation in ways that they do not yet understand. My journey at A&M actually started 44 years ago when I started as a student. At that time, I had no idea what kind of path and journey lay ahead for me. I was in ROTC. For me, family finances were an issue, and I was fortunate to get an ROTC scholarship. I commissioned into the Air Force 40 years ago exactly, and I had no idea what was ahead. My plan at that time was actually, honestly, to go and serve the time I owed them for that scholarship and then move on with my life. And what I found in the military was a camaraderie, was a clear sense of mission that was absolutely vital for our country. That 4 years turned into 30 active and reserves. I wouldn't trade one day for anything. I did leave active duty, but shortly afterwards joined the reserve so I could continue to serve. The difference that I was able to make in very significant ways during times of trouble in our country, first in the Cold War and then as in the particularly Desert Storm on active duty, I had no idea what was ahead. In my years in flight test, our mantra was that our customer wasn't the general or a program manager or a contractor. Our customer was the future second lieutenant who would be flying our weapon system into combat someday. Little did I know back then that one of those customers would be my oldest son, Mitch, who's a pilot in the Air Force. He just returned back from another combat deployment a few months ago. So for the families out there, my family had no background in the military when I chose that path. And my parents kind of wondered at what I was doing and why, and then were marveled as I continued and grew and had amazing experiences and opportunities to make a difference in there. But I remember at my commissioning ceremony 40 years ago, that look of a little bit of concern in their eyes. Pride, yes, absolutely, but also some concern for the unknown that lay ahead. I felt that myself 11 years ago as we commissioned my son, and I absolutely feel that today as we're commissioning these 13 young officers to serve. But I'm incredibly proud of them, and I wish them all the best of success and the pride for the rest of their lives at knowing they answered their country's call. Thanks, and gig 'em.
Thank you, Admiral. I would now like to introduce our guest speaker, Captain Timothy Nelick. A native of Kansas, Captain Tim Nelick left the wheat fields behind at the age of 17. In the United States Navy, he developed a passion for seafaring and determined to become a merchant mariner. This led him to Texas Maritime Academy in Galveston, where he earned 2 degrees, Maritime Transportation in 1973 and Marine Engineering in 1987. He now holds U.S. Coast Guard licenses as Master Unlimited Tonnage and Chief Engineer Unlimited Horsepower. As a Navy reservist, he served on active duty orders for a total of approximately 10 years and was honorably discharged as a lieutenant commander. He is a nationally registered emergency medical technician, and Captain Nelly's career includes worldwide shipboard service in capacities including Master and Chief Engineer on a wide variety of vessels. Commanding the SS Cleveland, he received the Maritime Administration Expeditionary Medal during Operation Desert Storm. As Master of SS Diamond State, he received the Maritime Administration Outstanding Achievement Medal during the recovery from Hurricane Katrina. Captain Nelick received 2 Navy Commendation Medals, 3 Navy Achievement Medals, the Global War on Terrorism Medal, and numerous other awards and citations for his work as an intelligence analyst with the Office of Naval Intelligence. Captain Nelick's goal is to help aspiring men and women learn the tradecraft of modern commercial seafaring and develop into highly qualified and successful maritime professionals and junior officers in the uniformed services. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Nelick.
Good morning and howdy. Thank you, Lieutenant Perez, for that introduction. The short and simple version, and maybe the less painful version, is that I'm Captain Tim Nelick. I'm a member of the Maritime Transportation Department faculty at Texas A&M University, Galveston. I'm a graduate of Texas Maritime Academy quite some time ago, and I'm a proud U.S. Navy veteran. My captain title is in the Merchant Marine sense. I'm honored and flattered to be invited to this commissioning ceremony and to be given an opportunity to offer some thoughts and remarks to today's graduates and soon-to-be commissioned naval officers. And I'm honored as well to have the privilege to share this day of achievement and commencement with parents, families, and friends, albeit at a social distance. The 12 young men and 1 young woman ready to be commissioned today are about to embark upon careers of service to their country in the United States Navy and the U.S. Navy Reserve, the kind of service which has always been held to be among the highest of all callings, noblest of all endeavors, service and sacrifice for something much greater than oneself, service and sacrifice for a much higher, loftier goal, the defense of our great nation. I've had the honor of addressing commissioning ceremonies in the past, and in the past, I've included those comments I just made. Highest of all callings, noblest of all endeavors, service, sacrifice, lofty goals, and inevitably, I end up thinking, well, yeah, that sounds right up there with parenting. Today is certainly a celebration of the achievement, success, and hard work and determination required of these officer candidates to arrive here at this point in place in time. But as a parent myself, I'm fully aware of the sacrifices and hard work of their parents and families leading up to today. So I really begin my remarks by taking a moment to applaud that effort by the parents, families, and friends and recognize their sacrifice and achievement as we celebrate this occasion. This last lap of the long run to graduation and commissioning has, of course, been a bit unusual and has presented some unfamiliar challenges as we finish this spring 2020 semester at a distance online. Instructors such as myself, administrators, IT specialists needed to meet these challenges, not without a bit of a learning curve. And in a brief conversation with Admiral Fossum before the ceremony, it's clear that from the top on down, a great deal of effort has been expended meeting this challenge. Most likely, the biggest challenges were faced by students and families. So all of us embraced the online learning construct. We developed novel solutions to the novel corona. We learned new technologies and new techniques in distance education. In the news, we even hear talk of a societal post-pandemic new normal. But today, with the finish line in sight, is not a day of novel concepts nor innovation. Today is a day of the storied traditions and core values of the United States Navy and the Navy Reserve. Today is a day of the old normal. Today is the day that the commissioning ensigns will enter the time-honored world of the Navy core values of honor, courage, and commitment. It is a day of transition from completion of study to the beginning of career, but this is a day of something else as well. This is a day of patriotism, In this age when patriotism may not be as revered as in the past, when it almost seems that patriotism is under attack, we can take comfort to know that that's not the case with our ensigns to be today, as they take their oaths of office and accept commissions, pledging to defend our great nation. Patriotism will certainly be the central focus of those accepting full active duty commissions today. Ensigns Calarco, Kimball, Mize, Mullins, Ponchot, Purty, and Quinn will enter the profession of arms in surface warfare, nuclear engineering, naval aviation, and Navy special warfare. Gentlemen, Ms. Quinn, I applaud your answer to the call of full active duty service. You may have heard from others, what? You're going on active duty in the Navy? You'll have no freedom. That's too much regimentation. But you may just find, as I did, that it's a funny thing about freedom and regimentation. You may find that, in fact, the daily service, regimentation, and discipline of active duty service can be, perhaps somewhat paradoxically, profoundly liberating. The certainty that your professional life is one of consequence liberates you, frees you from any doubt of the importance of your daily work. And you may have heard from others, what, you're going on active duty in the Navy? You're never going to get wealthy. But indeed, you will become wealthy in ways your civilian peers can only imagine. You will become experientially, professionally, intellectually, and culturally wealthy. You will be vastly wealthy in the knowledge that until the day you die, you can say that you honorably served your country. I personally would not trade any possession, any bank account, any credit card I have. I would exchange none of these for the value of knowing in my heart that I served my country. Again, those accepting active duty commissions, I applaud you. In the coming years, your patriotism, hard work, and sacrifice, your daily service on the oceans of the world, in the air above, and in the water below, will be what the political futurist George Orwell described when he wrote, "A nation sleeps peacefully at night because brave men and women stand ready to come to her defense." Brave men and women like today's commissioning ensigns. Soon-to-be ensigns Chapman, Alden, Galt, Jackson, Lee, and Sinofsky will today accept Navy Reserve commissions as strategic sea lift officers, just as I did many decades ago. As they begin their careers as civilian merchant mariners, they may experience, as I did, a continual growth of patriotism and love of country that occurred naturally for me during my commercial seafaring. You see, a merchant mariner has the opportunity to travel around the world many times over and experience the cultures and human conditions of the various places encountered. Many wonderful places, and many places not so wonderful. In some, throughout all that travel and observation, I would predict that our reserve ensigns may, as I did, develop a much deeper sense of appreciation for our great nation and the principles that it's founded on. Reservists, I urge you to keep your reserve commission requirements up to date. Participate fully as possible in the SSO program. The day may come, perhaps quite unexpectedly, for you to bring your skills as a mariner to a fight. Shortly after 9/11, I thank God for the fact that as a Navy reservist, I was able to volunteer for active duty in the War on Terror. And in the nearly 5 decades of my professional career at sea, there has been no ship, any voyage, no period of shipboard service as profoundly rewarding as my service on active duty in the United States Navy in uniform in time of war. So reservists, keep active in the program and be ready to volunteer. Today's graduates are likely quite weary of studying at this point in time, and that's certainly understandable. At Texas A&M-Galveston, a wide variety of marine-related fields of study are pursued. I was fortunate to have the opportunity to study both marine transportation and marine engineering. Dry, boring, prosaic disciplines, no real moral beauty or philosophical enlightenment to be found there, or maybe, just maybe. Let me think back a bit. One of the major fields of study at TAMUG that produces candidates for commissioning is marine engineering. Ensigns to be Calarco, Chapman, Galt, Jackson, Lee, and Mullins are graduating with degrees in engineering. Marine engineering, as is all engineering, is essentially a study of how and why things work and how to make them work better. Engineering is the application of science and mathematics to structures, machines, processes, and systems with the goal of making life and our world better, and occasionally making the world safer. At TAMUG, students in marine engineering study, among other things, thermodynamics, which is really a study of energy or the ability to do work. I hope of our graduating engineering students. As with most science-oriented studies, Laws are formulated in thermodynamics, one of which is the second law. The second law of thermodynamics is a sort of restatement of the concept of conservation of energy that we all learned in high school. But the second law goes a bit further and perhaps has profound implications for humankind, possibly appropriate for consideration for us here today. If we can indulge in a bit of cosmic extrapolation, basically the second law of thermodynamics confirms the idea that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed. But the second law goes on to tell us that there is no guarantee that the transformations will turn out to our liking. In fact, the second law tells us that left to itself, any system, whether in the laboratory, design board, actual mechanical device or process, any system left to itself will experience what we discover to be an increase in disorder and chaos. It's called entropy. And the second law tells us that a constant input of effectively utilized energy or work is required to overcome this constant increase in chaos and disorder. So if we borrow the second law from thermodynamics to see if we can apply it to life, we can conceive of a society, a culture, or a nation, our nation, as a system. As with any system, the second law tells us the numerous and varied adversarial forces of chaos and disorder from within and without may change over time, but they are always there. Our nation will always have adversaries of which, to paraphrase Plato, only the dead have seen the end, and of which the dispatch requires constant effort, energy, and work to counteract this adversarial entropy, the chaos, the disorder. This is the work of the United States Navy. Commissioned officers in the United States Navy, as these 12 men and 1 woman become today, in the daily performance of their duty, do just that work and keep the entropy, the adversarial chaos and disorder at bay. And as Orwell wrote, our nation sleeps peacefully at night. Ensigns, I must add, without the chief petty officers, the petty officers, and the enlisted, that work would never get done. Letting my recollections of study at Tiamat drift just a bit further back to marine transportation, I recall one of my favorite authors, Joseph Conrad. He wrote, "Seafaring is a life invested with an elementary sense of moral beauty by the singleness of its purpose and the straightforwardness of its appeal. When we modern mariners first learn the skill of celestial navigation, it seems absolutely wondrous to be able to look to the heavens, to behold the stars, and discern our position on earth. Thanks to the brilliance of the stars themselves and the brilliance of the ancient astronomers and navigators who devised and developed the art and science of celestial navigation. I hope it's not too much of a stretch to assume that ensigns to be, Alden, Kimball, Ponchot, and Sinofsky, would agree. The celestial navigation is a very enjoyable and fulfilling aspect of the mariner's tradecraft, and more. It can be inwardly reassuring. When the navigator looks up and beholds those stars, then he is assured. He knows where he is. He knows he's in the right place. He is guided by something awesome, infinite, and profound. When one wears the uniform of an officer of the United States Navy, he or she too will look up and see stars, 50 brilliant white stars, in a field of blue framed in stripes of red and white. When an officer in the Navy looks up and beholds those stars, then he or she too is assured. He knows where he is, and she knows she's in the right place, guided by something awesome, infinite, and profound, guided by patriotism, the old normal. So may I again congratulate the parents and families and wish success to all 13 commissioning candidates. I will not wish you good luck. You make your own luck, so go out, make your luck, make it good, and succeed. Enjoy the fact that at this point in time, the engine order telegraph in front of Ms. Donna Ferrer's office in Kirkham Hall is briefly unfinished with engines, but be prepared to get underway soon on the challenging, rewarding voyage of your careers. It will soon be all hands on deck, standby engines, let go fore and aft. Godspeed, young men. Godspeed, young woman. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Nelick. Today we gather to witness the transition from the midshipman ranks to the officer ranks as ensigns in the United States Navy. The commissioning ceremony you witness today reflects the rich heritage of our naval history and time-honored traditions. Custom has established that this ceremony be inspiring in nature and is designed to strengthen the respect for dedicated service that is vital to any military organization. I have had the distinct pleasure of being a part of the leadership of the NROTC and SSM programs and I am honored and proud to be the commissioning officer for today's ceremony. Midshipmen, attention to commissioning. From the President of the United States to all who shall see these presents, greetings. Know ye that, reposing special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of these midshipmen, I do appoint them as ensigns, United States Navy, to rank as such from the 22nd day of May, 2020. These officers will therefore carefully and diligently discharge the duties of the office to which they are appointed by doing and performing all manner of things thereunto belonging. And I do strictly charge and require those officers and other personnel of lesser rank to render such obedience as is due an officer of this grade and position. And this officer is to observe and follow such orders and directions from time to time as may be given by the President of the United States of America or other superior officers in accordance with the laws of the United States of America. This commission is to continue in force during the pleasure of the President of the United States, under the provisions of those public laws relating to officers of the armed forces of the United States of America, and the component thereof in which this appointment is made. Done at the city of Washington, this 22nd day of May, in the year of our Lord, the 2020 of the independence of the United States of America, the 242nd. Signed, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. I will now administer the oath of office for each midshipman individually, and we will observe the Navy's age-old tradition of ceremoniously removing one's previous rank and replacing it with the newly attained rank. Midshipman Calarco, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Benjamin Calarco,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Benjamin Calarco graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Ocean Engineering and will report to Navy Nuclear Power School in Charleston, South Carolina. Revealing Ensign Calarco's rank, placing his combination cover, and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his parents, Daniel and Susie Calarco. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Benjamin Calarco. Midshipman Chapman, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Drew Chapman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Drew Chapman graduates with the Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering Technology, and he is slated to serve as a strategic sea lift officer. Revealing Ensign Chapman's rank, placing his combination cover, and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his parents, Mike and Galen Chapman. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Drew Chapman. Midshipman Alden, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Yusuf Alden,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Yusuf Alden graduates with a Bachelor of Science degree in Marine Transportation with minors in Maritime Administration and Marine Biology. He is slated to serve as a strategic sea lift officer. Revealing Ensign Alden's rank and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his parents, Sharif and Karen Alden. Placing his combination cover will be his girlfriend, Alexandra Baskin. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Yusuf Alden. Midshipman Galt, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
Wyatt Galt,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Wyatt Galt graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering Technology, and he is slated to serve as a strategic sea lift officer. Revealing Ensign Galt's rank, placing his combination cover, and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his parents, Eric and Kelly Galt. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Wyatt Galt. Midshipman Jackson, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Andrew Cairns Jackson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Andrew Jackson graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Maritime Engineering Technology, and he is slated to serve as a Strategic Sea Lift Officer. Revealing Ensign Jackson's rank, placing his combination cover, and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his fiancée, Frances Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Andrew Jackson. Midshipman Kimball, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Davis Kimball,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Davis Kimball graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation, and he is slated to serve as a Strategic Sea Lift Officer. Revealing Ensign Kimball's rank and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his father, Joe Kimball, and placing his combination cover will be his mother, Stephanie Kimball. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Davis Kimball. Midshipman Lee, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Wilson Lee,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
to bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Wilson Lee graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering Technology, and he is slated to serve as a Strategic Sealift Officer. Revealing Ensign Lee's rank and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his parents, Sharon and Yongjin Lee. Placing his combination cover will be his brother, Dennis Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Wilson Lee. Midshipman Mize, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Carter Mize,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Carter Mize graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Maritime Administration, and he will report to the USS Wayne E. Meyer in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Revealing Ensign Mize's rank and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his parents, Virginia and Mark Mize. Placing his combination cover will be his brother, Hunter Mize. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Carter Mize. Midshipman Mullins, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ethan Mullins,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
for which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Ethan Mullins graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering Technology, and he is slated to serve as a nuclear surface warfare officer. Revealing Ensign Mullins' rank and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his parents, Karen and Larry Mullins. Placing his combination cover will be his sister, Abby Mullins. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Ethan Mullins. Midshipman Ponchot, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jacob Daniel Ponchot,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Jacob Ponchot graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation with a minor in Maritime Administration, and he will report to the USS Essex in San Diego, California. Revealing Ensign Ponchot's rank will be his father, Dan Ponchot, and brother, Nathan Ponchot. Placing his combination cover and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his mother, Julie Ponchot. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Jacob Ponchot. Midshipman Pertee, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Vincent Pertee,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose for evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Vincent Pertee graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Maritime Administration, and he will report for Naval Flight Training in Pensacola, Florida. Revealing Ensign Pertee's rank, placing his combination cover, and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his father, Chris Pertee. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Vincent Pertee. Midshipman Quinn, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Delaney Quinn,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Delaney Quinn graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Biology, and she will report to the USS George H.W. Bush in Hampton Roads, Virginia. Revealing Ensign Quinn's rank and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be her father, Brett Quinn, and placing her combination cover will be her mother, Tracy Quinn. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Delaney Quinn. Midshipman Sinofsky, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Tyler Sosnowski,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Tyler Sosnowski graduates with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation, and he is slated to serve as a Strategic Sea Lift Officer. Revealing Ensign Sosnowski's rank and pinning the National Defense Service Medal will be his parents, Cindy and Russell Sosnowski, and placing his combination cover will be his sister, Riley Sosnowski. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Tyler Sosnowski. Ladies and gentlemen, I take great pleasure in presenting the Texas A&M University of Galveston Navy Commissioning Class of May 2020. Let's give it up for them. The first salute is a military tradition that dates back to the Revolutionary War. After the war, the officer would have an officer's guide and a non-commissioned officer or NCO mentor. The government paid the NCO mentor a stipend of $1 a month for this extra duty. Some years later, the government removed the stipend given to the NCO and instead paid it to the newly appointed officer. He was expected to hand over the stipend to the NCO every month, but could withhold it if he felt the NCO failed to perform his duties as his mentor. The allowance was later removed from the officer's pay, and NCOs in general were charged with mentoring peers, superiors, and subordinates as part of the regular duties. While some formal officer training now occurs prior to commissioning, the Silverdollar Salute is a tradition that honors the non-commissioned officers that have influenced and prepared the newly appointed officer to lead the future of our naval services. It is the symbolic passing of the torch by that non-commissioned officer in which they transition from mentor to subordinate in recognizing the newly commissioned officers' achieved competence. Providing Ensign Calarco with his first salute will be Seaman Mike Mullins. Providing Ensign Chapman with his first salute will be Private First Class Roy Roberts. Providing Ensign Alden with his first salute will be Chief Petty Officer Julius Bowles. Providing Ensign Galt with his first salute will be Specialist Keelan Lothian Williams. Providing Ensign Jackson with his first salute will be Chief Petty Officer Julius Bowles. Providing Ensign Kimball with his first salute will be Machinist Mate First Class Vernon Robertson. Providing Ensign Lee with his first salute will be Chief Petty Officer Julius Bowles. Providing Ensign Mize with his first salute will be Chief Petty Officer Julius Bowles. Providing Ensign Mullins with his first salute will be Chief Petty Officer Julius Bowles. Providing Ensign Ponchot with his first salute will be Dispersing Clerk Second Class Charles Horan. Providing Ensign Pertee with his first salute will be Photographer's Mate Seaman Chris Pertee. Providing Ensign Quinn with their first salute will be Gunner's Mate First Class Joshua Quinn. And providing Ensign Sosnowski with his first salute will be Chief Petty Officer Julius Bowles. Each of these new officers is now charged to find their enlisted mentor and continue with this tradition. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the May 2020 Texas A&M at Galveston Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps and Strategic Sea Lift Midshipman Program commissioning ceremony. Please rise for the benediction and the departure of the official party. Giving today's benediction will be Midshipman First Class Jacob Pratt.
Welcome. Please join me in today's benediction. Almighty and ever-loving God, source of all wisdom and understanding, we are so very thankful for all that you teach us each and every day. We are especially thankful for all that you have taught these men and women in their time of learning. I have been with these midshipmen on their 4-year journey. I've seen them wake up every day, up well before the sun had risen, and well after the sun had set. They stayed up, hard at work, to forge themselves into the people that you, Lord, have called them to be. From the 5 a.m. PT sessions, or ensuring their uniforms looked as sharp as possible for inspection, to reminiscing on the past years at our formal dine-out events. You, Lord, were always present, always with them. You have given these newly commissioned officers the laughter, the camaraderie, and the testing of their abilities throughout their time here at Texas A&M University at Galveston. These are gifts for which we are all so very thankful for. Today, we want to pause in our headlong rush of life and give you thanks for this time to come together and honor and commission those who have worked oh so incredibly hard for this day. As we give recognition to some very deserving individuals, we ask for a special touch of your blessings on them today and to help them to have a strong sense of a job well done. May your spirit of remembrance rest on them so that this pinnacle time may return to them in times of stress and hardship, and give them the strength to continue on their journey as a leader in the United States Navy and the United States Merchant Marine. Their formal learning is ending, and their time of gaining wisdom is just beginning. Help them to grow strong in wisdom in order to weather life's storms. Give them strength to be men and women of integrity and compassion in order to be leaders in a way that is redemptive and capable wherever they are called to serve, in the skies, on the seas, or underneath them. Your strength enables these naval officers to protect others. Your providence keeps them safe. Help them to turn their hearts towards you each and every day. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Texas A&M Maritime Academy, departing. Captain, United States Maritime Service, departing. On behalf of the Department of Naval Science and Texas A&M University at Galveston staff, I would like to once again thank you all for joining us on this special day. Have a fine Navy Day.
Hey, Yagas.